Remember, we will be live from 1 a.m. UK time on Saturday night for Crawford versus Madrimov. And we'll also be live on Twitter and Kick because Eminem's performing and we might just get thrown off of YouTube. Welcome back to the Pain Game YouTube channel. We are in LA, motherfuckers! Come on. All right, we've just seen an example in this press conference between Terence Bud Crawford and Israel Madrimov of how to steal the show and how to have the flattest performance possible. KJ, I'm coming to you.
Yep,
you literally approached Big Baby Miller after this.
I had to. Listen, end of the day, yeah, I've said a lot of things about Big Baby. I've called him the chemist. I've called him the walk-in pharmacy. I've called him a lot of things. I'm sorry. Laboratory. There's been loads of names. I've gone too far. Yeah. But then what he did, that's how you sell a fight. I had to literally, something in me said, go over to that man and tell him that's what you did your job. And there's someone else who didn't do their job is Jared. Jared let me down. Yeah. I've come here to say this is his crowning moment. I'm looking at him, how we looked at Dubois versus, Big Baby Miller. Yeah. And this is like, are you one of the pack? Are you someone we should respect? And he looked like someone that didn't want to engage, didn't want to say nothing, and didn't think about his future. What's next after this?
If you don't want to talk, though, there's a way of still maintaining your presence.
Yes.
And his head was down. Yeah. Everything about him, I am not confident.
Like Bacoli did. Bacoli was a man of little words, but what he did say still engaged me. It still made me interested. And the thing we're saying about Jared Anderson here not going back at Big Baby Miller, the lack of talking, the lack of actually showing up and selling the fight started before that. That was after he had already spoke. I think the first thing he said was a one-word answer, and it's like, we just need a little bit more than that.
He said, look, we tried to make the fight. He goes, we tried to make the fight and you didn't want it. He goes, cap. And it's just like, bro, this guy said so much about you just now. That's not a sufficient response, bro.
We talked about it. You wonder, like, what's going on in here with Jared Anderson. And you talk about how great he can be. It's going to be up to him. It really is. And in moments like this, you wonder, are you taking this as seriously as we take you? Because what we need from you is more. You're not giving us enough.
Yeah, when there's questions about your mental strength and people, we all seen the Roy Jones thing, and when your head's down, you're not, when he's saying to you, on 7 days notice, Charles Martin came and gave you hell, and remember the last punch of that fight was a wobble Jared Anderson, and he just doesn't say anything back. It's just like, you're not giving me confidence. If I'm putting money down on this, I ain't going to the bookies on you right now.
Do we look at the fact that, he's 24 years old, we expect a young, brash 24-year-old, but sometimes it's like, this generation especially, they are a lot more reserved in terms of how they communicate, how they express themselves. We see more aggression in his tweets.
What Big Baby Miller was able to do is he understands what he's getting against. He's getting against Ruiz. If it goes wrong for him, he's already put his placeholder there on the table. He said, listen, I've said, I'm looking at you. I said, I will fight you even if you lose. He's really saying, well, if I lose as well, I'll still fight this guy. But he don't want to come out and say that. That's someone that understands the business and is being clever. You still want to think of your next payday, the next place you're going to eat. And he's smart. He's already guaranteed if you're having a fight, put him on a card because he's going to get something going. For me, I would say he saved the press conference.
By the way, though, Big Baby, they look damn good up there, man.
He lost, 50 pounds?
In great shape. Yeah.
He must be on Ozempic or whatever
he did say he was in a laboratory for the whole camp. So
he brought the lab.
We might see a new and improved Big Baby because obviously against Daniel Dubois, he got worked, right? And he needs to really bring a lot for Andy Ruiz because Andy Ruiz has got way more talent, in my opinion, than Big Baby. Andy Ruiz didn't say too much today, but with him, it's not that necessary.
You know what he does.
He's been there and done it.
The AJ win is a significant
you have a little bit of aura around him.
Going back to the Bacoli fight with Jared Anderson, Bacoli didn't look trim in his last fight. He had a bit of a belly on him, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Like, if I'm coming in with that belly again, and you've got a kid with Jared Anderson's engine, and he can't move his head, and he can't get inside, late rounds, I'd worry for Bacoli, but early, I fancy...
Can I just remind you of one fight, right? And I'm not saying they're like-for-like stylistic matchups, but you could look at the physical attributes of Jared Anderson, the reflexes, which for a big man are really, really impressive. But let me just remind you of Joe Joyce against Joseph Parker. Every single attribute I just named there. Joseph Parker had the reflexes on Joe Joyce. Joseph Parker had the speed on Joe Joyce. Joseph Parker had the youth on Joe Joyce. That's just a recent example. I'm sure heavyweight historians could show me loads more. But I'm telling you, sometimes a man that doesn't have the physical attributes can show heart, determination, grit, and get through them fights. It wouldn't shock me if Bacoli did it.
We're going to move on to Andy Ruiz, right? Andy Ruiz versus Big Baby Miller. Early feelings on the fight with Big Baby coming in 50 pounds lighter. And and then a 2-year layoff for Andy Ruiz Jr. I mean, the guy's fought 3 times in 4 years. It's just not enough to fill you with confidence, but the talent is supreme.
The talent is supreme, but you can't underestimate activity. And this something that happened after that Dubois fight that's kicked Big Baby Miller
sold
into
that to me.
gear. Yeah, that explanation was just perfect. And I'm looking at Ruiz and I'm thinking, I've always, ever since you beat AJ, I've questioned your motivation because you've not shown up and delivered a performance like that since.
Yeah.
So I do accept that the talent is there. But whether or not it'll be there on Saturday night is another question.
Can I give you a reason in which I draw confidence if I was Andy Ruiz fan would be when he has had these layoffs, right? And I know that you spoke in a video earlier on that was put out today where he spoke about AJ's comeback and the opponents that AJ had. And I don't necessarily...
Easy, by the way. He said AJ had easy fights, and that's why his comeback has gone well.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
He's definitely
100%.
The one thing you can say about Andy Ruiz is when he's come back from these layoffs, man, Chris Arreola, I'm not saying he's the best fighter ever. It was a tough fight to take after that sort of layoff. Then he comes back against Luis Ortiz. He comes back in a Luis Ortiz fight. That's another tough fight to take for a first fight back. I'm not saying they're not winnable fights. And then to come back against Joel Big Baby Miller, that shows that Andy Ruiz knows just how good he is. How much has he still got left in him? We're going to find out.
I question the finances. I question the motivation. What's he doing here? Because he don't care. I ain't seen him in a game. You talk about someone that he kind of plays catfish with us online with the pictures, bro. Something that 1 minute he looks like he's in super.
Photoshop
1 minute he's in super shape. Next minute like, wait, hold on. Did he take the trainers?
He's fat again.
You don't know. I never know what I'm getting. It's literally a box of chocolates, no instructions. And hopefully in this one, I'm hoping that maybe he's in some level of financial constraints that's gonna force him.
Well, he's just had more kids. He's got about 6 kids.
Well, there you go. That's one of the things.
But he's never going to win. Listen, Andy's never going to win a beauty contest. He's never going to win that, right? Even when we saw him look up here today, we were like, listen, Big Baby looks good. Andy on stage kind of looks the same. But when they step in a ring, that switches to me. The boxing ability shows and it shines. And every time he's in there, like you talked about, even off a layoff, the hand speed's there. The timing is there.
What are you going to say but then the weight loss that Big Baby Miller has lost? He was tired in the last fight. You could tell he just didn't have the gasket. He didn't have the energy.
He still took a hell of a fucking beating from Dubois, right? One thing that would worry me is sometimes when heavyweights lose weight,
quickly,
their chin all of a sudden is not. Take, for example, Andy Ruiz. He lost weight when he trained with the Canelo camp for Arreola, got dropped twice in the first couple of rounds.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, after a brutal knockout by Dubois or a stoppage, then losing a lot of weight, almost 50 pounds, which is a little bit like, what do you say, throwing a deck chair off a Titanic because he is that big. But I just wonder, like, can he take the power of Andy Ruiz? He's gone. Can he take the power?
It's more the hand speed and volume
for
Andy.
Yep.
I think a lot of that is going to make a big difference. And again, you can lose all that weight as quickly as he lost it. Does concern me. And again, that accumulation of volume is going to slow down Big Baby.
Another example, Joe Joyce lost about 40 pounds and then he started getting knocked out.
Yep.
So it's looking bad.
All right, we'll move on to the main event of the evening. We had a few little words from Madrimov's corner about fairness.
Very interesting.
Talking about referees judging, that sort of thing. Because this guy's barely gone to a decision. So why are you bringing that up?
That's right.
Are you talking about America? You're trying to plant seeds?
Very smart. It makes people just aware, makes people conscious. It makes the judges have to be judge themselves in that moment. When they call rounds, when he finish a round, he's already almost highlighted, well, the judging might be funny. So when I'm putting in my score, I got to be aware that he said that because now everyone's aware of me now in this moment. I think it's very intelligent because it's not going to go the difference, but if it does, they just put themselves ahead of it.
It's like when camps before a fight, they go to the ref, watch out for the elbow.
100%.
And then your fighter starts elbowing the most.
100%.
It's
happens in American sports all the time.
Right. One other thing he did mention, one of his coaches said how grateful they were over and over again to Crawford, and I'm like, it's getting a bit too grateful for me. Is there a chance that he's going to be in there with Crawford and almost too happy to just be in the occasion?
I think there's a lot of validity to that. I think you can read into that and you can draw a conclusion. But I would say there was a man we saw up on the stage today, Andy Ruiz, when he took AJ's belts off him at that first fight. When he's talking about my son's also called AJ, and things like that. You could say the exact same thing with that fight, and we all know how that turned out. So I think there's definitely something you can read into that, but I wouldn't be so sure.
Wolf in sheep's clothing. That's the end of the day. You're as a man that's sitting there saying, "Hi guys, thank you for allowing me to be here."
Yeah, man.
You're such a great lad. Bow, first punch. If they're comparing to Golovkin, they're saying a smarter, probably even more skilled Golovkin, better head movement. Again, timing.
Same camp as Bivol as well. He spars Bivol.
Same team.
Yeah.
This man is not. He realizes, I don't get these opportunities. The first thing that the first thing they said is when they're coming around the world and Eddie Hearn is pricing guys from different parts that never get a chance. Finally, people are starting to recognize Far East, anywhere in the world, like Russians, whoever, give them a chance because you could get another Usyk.
Mm-hmm.
And Usyk is the head of the division right now. No one has a problem with him not being from America or from the UK. So it doesn't matter.
One other big point that was raised by Crawford's team was the weight. He kept trying to say, people are doubting the weight, people are complaining, yada, yada, yada. Do we think the weight is going to be an issue?
Didn't look like it on stage, man. Me and Joey were looking at him stand next to each other, and it looks like Crawford's a bigger guy by a good amount to me.
Yeah.
He's taller. I looked at his hands, and I'm like,
well, that's what
these
we
are
do
meat
know.
cleavers,
He's got
dude.
the longer reach. He's got a notably longer reach.
That's right.
So I don't know. I don't think. Also, again, we've spoke about this before with the wrestling background that Crawford comes from.
That grip strength
as well. I get he's been retired a couple of years, but seeing him in there with Andre Ward, things like that, I don't think that the weight is going to be the biggest factor in this fight at all.
You know what? I actually worry, when I say bigger, obviously, I think that Terence Crawford's taller, his frame is a little wider to me. I worry that Madrimov coming down as much, and we're seeing this more with boxing, saw it with Ryan Garcia, saw it with Devin Haney, guys that are coming down super far and then trying to rehydrate. It's hurting them more than it's helping them.
Well, we saw that with Eubank Jr. when he went down and then after get hurt by Smith.
The body doesn't
so the body you can't really treat your body that way.
You heard Terence Crawford, he was talking about it. He's like, listen, I'm fine. I'm right around my weight.
It's also one of those things, you look at Crawford has climbed a couple of weight classes now. He knows what the process requires.
Yeah.
He's prepared to deliver it. He's also got sights set on Canelo. When they asked him about what weight class is going to be next, they said whatever. That's a very clear indication. We are going bigger than this. Yeah. So this is...
If you're getting confident about 168, 154 is nothing really.
Exactly.
But there is a line. And that's what interests me about this with Bivol is there's a line where we've seen with Canelo where it was just he bit off more than he could chew.
Yep.
Yes.
And there is a possibility that with the age and the weight and all the other factors that might happen. We're going to find out. We're going to find out this Saturday, lads. We're going to do
fight, I'm telling you, for people that haven't bought this fight, you must, because I know it's going to be explosive. There's two fights that are really going to get going. But this main event one, this is where it happened because even though everyone's thrown it away and said, this, that, and the other, this man is coming forward. This man is not a nice guy. Mm-hmm. He's going to bring it to Crawford. Yeah. He's going to bring it to Crawford. And there'll be moments in the fight when you're looking at Crawford saying, oh, sugar. Yeah. It's not going to be nothing like the Arrow one. I promise you that.
Well, good point, because you can actually buy this pay-per-view using the link in our description below on DAZN. Check it out. It's the Riyadh season card. The show rolls on. We're going to London after. It's going to be unbelievable.
Oh,
hit the link in the description below and we will see you Saturday night live from the BMO Stadium in Los Angeles on the Pay and Game YouTube channel. See you soon.
Let's go.